What are you drinking, Thrasher?
So I'm sweating right now before I open it, but I got a bottle. Wait, Italian red, so I got my Brunello.
You got a Brunello?
Got a Brunello. But I'll once I quit sweating, I'll open it and pour it. But last thing I feel like I want right now is a dry red wine.
You should be drinking like a nice rosé or Sauvignon Blanc or something crisp.
Well, we said Italian red, so I was trying to stick to Italian red.
That's all right. I went to Spain, dude.
I almost went to Spain.
JC gave a directive, so I was trying to stick to it. Or I'd be pouring something white and cold.
I just assumed you guys would want something Italian, knowing you too.
I've been doing a lot of Italian lately. I've been doing a lot of everything lately, actually. Mixing it up.
I've done a lot of Sauvignon Blanc. I had a lot of cold whites. My wife stopped drinking, so I'm just drinking by myself. So we're not drinking nearly as much rosé as we normally would at this point.
My wife doesn't like rosé, which is kind of helpful. I really
do. I really like rosé.
Me too.
I do too.
But today, I put it on Twitter. I was like, I drink rosé. What?
That was such a random tweet. I saw that. It was like, I like rosé. I like waffles. Like just like.
No, I mean I like
waffles.
it, but I'm so done with the bandwagon. It's like everywhere you go. I mean, there are entire like walls of wine shops dedicated to it. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about when we make our rosé at Chateau Fibonacci, we only do magnums, just only magnums of rosé. What do you think about that? Does it come
with a sparkler attached to it?
Is that too aggressive? Only magnums?
Only is fine.
Is that what you guys are making? You're making rosé there?
Yeah, we're gonna do some rosé, Provence style, nice salmon color, but we've been kind of toying around with for just the rosé, only do magnums. Is that too obnoxious, you think?
No.
So what grapes are you growing?
So we have 1.25 acres of Cabernet Sauvignon in Calistoga. That'll produce 250 cases. This is single vineyard cab. This is on paper, this is the best Cabernet Sauvignon in the world, except for maybe the left bank of Bordeaux, maybe Coonawarra in Australia, but that's it. So it's on paper, the best juice in the world. So, this is Chateau Montelena's old property. So we took that over this year because their lease was up, and it's been raining a lot the last few years. So there's an abundance of fruit. So they just didn't need this 1.25 acres because that, compared to everything they make, this 1.25 acres doesn't put a dent in it. So, but for us,
have you met Bo Barrett?
What's that?
Have you met Bo Barrett?
Yeah, super nice guy. Real nice guy.
Because
my partner, his father was Bo Barrett's best friend and college roommate. So
wow.
Bo Barrett's one of the first people I met when I moved to California.
That's awesome.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, that's outstanding.
What a cool piece of land. Just to start out. Not let people start out in the wine, starting on some heritage ground like that. That's pretty cool.
Well, when you live there, as long as I did, I mean, it wasn't forever, but 5 years goes a long way, and you meet a lot of people. So you're in the know of what's happening locally there, right? When let's say I was in New York and wanted to go do something out there and I don't know anybody, good luck finding these little hidden gems. This stuff is available, but nobody knows about it. So it's fun, we'll see what happens.
So when should we be expecting the first bottling?
Well, I mean, harvest is I can actually show you a video. Do I have it? I do have it. Let's see if this works. So this is the year to date, the time lapse in the vineyard year to date.
Very cool.
So you'll see now in a few seconds it'll start popping up. So this is a lot of alluvial soils and volcanic soils mixed together. So you can see there they just clipped them. See that?
Yeah.
See how they just clipped them now? So now you'll start to see the growth. So now this is March, basically. So it started in January, the video. Now you're basically looking at early March. Now probably heading into April almost. And now you get bud break in April. And then you'll see it, totally blow up from there. Watch. You see the grapes now popping out?
Yeah.
That's outstanding. Look at that.
So you're going to go back out for harvest and...
You should bring a crew of us out there to work harvest.
There you go.
I'm down.
We each take 6 feet of vine at a time.
Just everybody take a row.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I mean, listen, it's a fun project at the least. Maybe a business at the most, but we got the property. I mean, I own the grapes. $8,000 a ton wasn't cheap. So now we got to figure out what to do with it.
So how many bottles do you think you'll get out of that?
3,000, 250 cases.
Sweet. That's not too shabby at all.
You know,
That'll
again,
get you through winter.
averaging, who knows, but that based on what we're expecting, we could probably get about 5 tons, and then we'll see what kind of market we have out there. We already have a lot of commitments for the first vintage, so we'll probably sell out of that, probably in the first couple of days, I would think. And then we'll figure it out from there, and then, start producing, because this is the first one, the cab. So we'll see what happens after that. I'd love to do a Super Tuscan style, California, Pinot Noir from Sonoma Coast, Zinfandel from Dry Creek, Sauvignon Blanc from Napa. There's some, eventually I'd love to do some bubbles, but,
no Russian River?
For me, there's nothing from Russian River that like stands out that really like expresses itself in a unique way, like Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir, like Zinfandel in Dry Creek, like Cabernet Sauvignon from Northern Napa, right? Those are like very specific regions. And this is a very selfish endeavor where I'm making wine that I like, the style that I like it. And for me, I'd love to be proven wrong. I love being proven wrong when it comes to wine and finding new gems, but there's just nothing in Russian River, but who knows? I don't see why not.
You got to go digging. You got to go find the stuff where you have to visit and get on their list, and, not the stuff that's widely available here.
Yeah, but there's a lot of producers in Russian River that source grapes from other regions. So you're going to get like La Crema, right? La Crema is a Russian River winery. It's a great place. I love their wine. My favorite wine of theirs is a Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's fair. I'm talking like the people like, Gary Farrell's big at this point. You can get his stuff anywhere. But yeah. There's some of these like really small producers where the stuff never leaves the state unless you get on their list, right? And I'm on one list like that, and they're actually starting to get bigger now because I think they hired Wilson Daniels to distribute for them. Wilson Daniels they're the importer for DRC. So this place kind of blew up. So I'm glad I've been on their list I think I went out there in 2005. So I've been on their list for 15.
Getting in the wine importing business or what? What's the deal with that?
No wine importing.
You're not going to do it?
Good thing, like you had said, they just...
No wine importing. Somebody had come to me looking to make an investment in their business, and it was a family friend, and I couldn't make it work, but it's a good thing.
Can't you get it for pennies on the dollar now?
Dude, I think we just found out how fragile it is.
Fair. So are Greek and Italian stocks going to be higher next June, or are they going to be lower?
Here's the transition. I have no idea.
I don't have any idea either. Russo does. Russo knows. He's got the great sports almanac from the future.
I wish.
Technical analysis only looks at the past, Russo. What a waste of time.
It is a waste of time. There's clearly a form of analysis out there that can see the future. I just haven't found it yet.
You like these shirts? You guys want one of these shirts?
Eat, sleep chart. Love that. Is that an all-star charts shirt?
It is. Giancarlo designed it.
Nice.
That is a nice shirt. Look at that. You are styling. Yeah, well, where's the
pretty much most of the things I think about, really, Like if you put family here, like that's pretty much my whole life.
Just get a box. You just check it off each day as you complete them.
Yeah. Wife, baby, eat, sleep, chart. Wife, baby, eat, sleep, chart. All right, Russo,
Dan's intense over there. Dan's got some intense.
He does. He's about to present his chart of the day, right? Everybody's wondering, like, the three of you clowns talking about wine this whole time? Like, can we get a trade? So what are you looking at, Russo? What's got your panties in a bunch?
What's got my panties in a bunch is all the MACD sell signals that have been rampant in the market lately.
All right.
You've been talking about those for past couple of days. Have there been? Obviously, today you got a little bit of fruition, but JC's kind of the raging bull. Dan's a little bit more cautious.
I would say I'm neutral here. Realistically, I'm neutral.
I'm buying stocks that are going up. What's wrong with that?
I'm not throwing any stones. I'm just.
Stocks only go up. Come on.
That's right.
I think there are stocks.
Hashtag DDTG.
I think there are stocks that are doing well, and I think there's stocks that will continue to do well. When you look at some of these indexes, they're still messy. So for me, it's less about that and more about individual opportunities. And like the last thing I want to say that it's a stock picker's market, because just punch me in the face if you ever hear me say that. But like, you know what I mean? Like we want to focus on individual equities, not, less the averages, right? You feel me?
Yeah. Been my focus here lately. our portfolio is sleeves. We have some that just pretty passive trend following index, and then more tactical individual stocks. And I've been spending a lot more time. That's really been where a lot more of I haven't owned this many biotech individual names. And that's not normally an area that I'll go in individual stocks. I'll normally put that to ETFs. But there's just been so many great, amazing charts in biotech that I'm about to get my PhD and just.
Yeah, Thrasher, you don't strike me as like, one of these biotech junkies, right? But you make a good point, particularly the large cap biotechs, and you look at the IBB and the base that could be potentially be breaking out. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I'm not going to pink sheet stuff where it's some dude in his basement with a beaker. Like they're legit companies, and if you position size anything correctly, you can manage the risk.
All right, Thrasher, any final words of wisdom?
On inflation?
No, I know you don't give a shit about inflation.
Good, because I was like, shit goes higher. Like
I know you better than that.
Excuse me, on the broad market.
Yeah. Any final words before I go eat my chicken parm?
Yeah, I'm for me as of today, still watching those June highs. We had the big drop, largest drop since March a couple weeks ago. Trying to build back out of that. That gap down has been resistance. From a broad equity standpoint, I'm not crazy about indices until we can clear that. We've kind of been in this range now. If you're looking more intraday or like on a 1 hour chart, we need to clear that. We haven't yet. So I'm not thrilled with equity risk reward here.
It's not the NASDAQ's fault that it's not full of a bunch of shitty energy companies and a bunch of shitty banks. You know what I mean? Like just because the stocks are going up, like I think we embrace it, right? I feel like I see so many people being like, oh, it's these names. It's just the tech. It's just the communications, whatever it is. Fine. And what the hell are you buying oil and gas names for? Or like regional bank stocks? Like, what are you worried? Why are you messing around with that if this stuff is already working is really how I see it. All right, last question. Ready? 2 questions. U.S. 10-year yields. When we have this conversation in 3 months, what does that look like when we're entering the fall? Hopefully there's football. Where are U.S. 10-year yields? And what's your favorite underrated wine in the world that you don't think people are drinking enough of? Russo, you first.
I am lower on the 10-year yield. And most underrated wines is actually, I'm going to keep it local. There's a vineyard out in the Hamptons here on Long Island called Channing Daughters that you really wouldn't know about unless you were from here. But they do phenomenal wines. They do a lot of non-traditional European grapes, like Blaufränkisch. So if you're ever out on Long Island, take a ride out to the Hamptons, go to Channing Daughters, get on their mailing list, get the Blaufränkisch. It's amazing. And they do 6 different styles of vermouth that are all phenomenal. And I was never a vermouth fan until I went out and visited them and did a tasting. So I'm going to keep it local and say Channing Daughters.
Thrasher?
I would probably have to say go with Dan as well, that I think they'll probably be lower. We have Fed Fund futures looking out October through January. They're still looking like they're calling for negative Fed Fund futures. I think that's going to – so I think the markets think we're going to have lower rates. We could have negative rates without getting that whole rabbit hole. I think we could still see rates go lower. Wine, to keep it in a wine that's accessible, that you don't have to ride a camel, a train, and a helicopter to get to. I love everything that Orange Swift produces. They're easy to find wines. They're excellent.
Thrasher.
There you go.
David Finney.
David Finney makes incredible wine for incredible value, but the quality of it, I haven't had a bottle that he's made that I didn't love. Whenever someone wants a wine recommendation, I say, if you can find anything that has his name on it, you're good.
Yep, agreed.
All right.
What do you think, JC?
Yeah, put it back at you.
I'm going to go 10s over the next few months are probably still range bound. You know, that's the trend as I see it.
Come on.
So what? That's a direction.
What?
What do you mean, come on? That's a direction. Sideways is a direction. You can go up, you know, like in Bull Durham, right? What did they say? Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and sometimes it rains, right? This is kind of like that, right? You got sometimes it's uptrends, downtrends, and sideways trends. This is just a sideways mess. So I'm going to bet that continues. And then as far as wine goes, I'm going to go with Moon Mountain Cabernet Sauvignon. Anything from Moon Mountain. You could drink Repris is a good one. You could drink Pangloss is much more affordable. But Cabernet Sauvignon from Moon Mountain, it's going to be in Sonoma, but it's going to be elevated. It's not going to be these tannin bombs that you often find in some of these Napa wineries. Much more approachable from a price standpoint and from an ageability standpoint. You don't have to wait. You don't got to lay it down for a couple of decades just so you can eat it, just so you can drink it. Freudian slip, because sometimes it feels like you're chewing on some of that stuff. You know, so Moon Mountain Cab.